Hey guys, just making another video tonight. So this is my slash 4x4, all right? And so I just wanted to put a video of this one because it gives you a good comparison of the Slash and the Wrestler. If anybody, hasn't owned a Traxxas 4x4 before, they'll have a good idea of what's similar. So almost everything is, except the Wrestler chassis is about a 1/4 inch shorter, okay? It's a 1/4 inch shorter up front, not in the rear. So all these bits and everything fit the same. I'm not sure about the axle shafts yet, just because I haven't really looked into changing the Wrestler's axle shafts, but the drive shaft is shorter. Everything else would fit the same. Obviously, shock towers would have different clips, but the mounting options are the same. So, first off, I run a very, very similar system that's in the Rustler. It's a Tekin Pro 4 HD, and it's a very good censored setup. I used to use it in my Techno short course truck, and it was just getting old, and I figured what better use to use it in my put it in my slash 4x4. Now I run like it's an LRP censored system, but so good system, was pricey, but it's definitely been worth the money. And the I haven't changed it, to connectors. I've done direct solder. Haven't changed it since then. But if some of you guys don't know out there, a lot of your censored stuff is you get it and you have to solder your tabs. Some of them you have to solder the wires all the way on, like everything. So it's just part of the hobby. Once you get deeper in the hobby, you'll find that you got to do a lot of these things. But it's a good thing to know because you can save yourself a lot of money by learning how to solder. You can put your own, you can use whatever types of connectors you want. You can swap motors and ESCs. It's a good thing to know. And you can repair things too, which is nice. So advantage of the direct solder, you're getting the maximum out of your battery that you can. And in spec classes, you're looking for any advantage you can get. So if that means you can get a little bit more power, which you may or may not notice by direct soldering, you're going to want to do that. And I'll show you as well on one of my touring cars. A lot of things are the same, like this other mount. I just leave this cover on because I horse around with this thing. I really don't feel like chewing up spur gears. But I will show you this slipper that in my other video I wasn't able to show you. And you'll at least be able to see it's very, very, it's the exact same thing as what comes in the Wrestler kit, except it has 3 more options for pads. So get this over here. This up. So the actual slipper assembly is shinier. It's like a polished, but you can see there the long aluminum pad, and then I have a metallic pad. So there's pads all the way around. All right, and then there's that sleeve that I was talking about. So this is fully locked down, but I can hear it, the slipper move just a little bit, just enough, to not make this thing so darn jumpy, so I'm pretty happy with it. But so if you guys are looking to make your Slash look like a pickup truck or like mine, you have to get the extended body mounts. You have to do that, and it's just easier to do it anyways, to do it that way. At least I believe you have to get the extended body mounts. You can do, if you happen to have some parts laying around, you can use, I believe you might be able to use a rear, if you buy 2 Rally rear mounts, 2 Traxxas Rally rear mounts, you can use those too. But don't quote me on that. I'm not totally sure. So the servo I'm running, this is it's like a $14 Rage Metal Gear servo, and I'm not sure if it's going out yet. It's lasted me a long time, but I'm getting some sticky steering, and I'm pretty confident it's the bulkhead, the posts that go up. They're just dirty. The bearings are new, but they're just dirty, and I don't think it lets the steering run as free as it should. So, and there's some play everywhere. I got to go through this thing a little bit, but yeah, if you want to do the pickup truck, you got to get the extended body mounts. I do have a short course truck body for it, but so there is a clipless body mount out there for a Traxxas Slash, all right, and it's made by RPM. Let's see here. It is part number 70920, and it part of it is these fans. It looks like short course truck fans, and you turn them. There's a video on there. When you click on the part, there's a video you can watch that shows you how to install, how they work. But you turn these fans, and it turns these tabs that lock the rear, and the front clips in the same as the Rustler. So maybe keep an eye out for that if you like it, the clipless body mount thing. But this is Traxxas Slash body specific. You can't get a Pro Line body and use it or anything like that. I've already tried, but really good truck. It took me 2 years to break the arms. Of course I went through axle shafts, but been a good truck. All right, so let's put this up here where it goes in its home. All right, so if you guys are looking to get into racing, all right, now where I race, they do VTA oval. Lots of places don't, but if you have a road course, most likely there's a VTA class there, and VTA class is a very good entry-level touring car class to get into, because they use a 25.5 turn brushless censored setup, stock time or stock ESC, which you can get a Hobbywing just stock ESC, and it's already preset to 0 timing. You can't advance timing in it. There's no way you can do it. Or I have something, it's a very small Hobbywing, 160 amp, really good speed control, really light. I'm actually a little too light for the class. I need to add some more weight, but this just gives me a few different options, because the Just Stock has drag brake and things like that, but this gives me a few other options, like how do I explain it? There's other things on there that help. There's like throttle softening and things like that, because with these tires, the VTA tires, now these are HPIs, and they're really hard to find. And when you find them, you got to snag them up while you can, because I think they work a lot better than the Protoforms. Okay, so, and these are the fronts, and they are 4793 HPI VTA tires. And then the rears 4797. So there's a whole separate game to be played racing touring cars, breaking in your tires, using tire softener, things like that. So you don't have to do too much of these. You just keep them clean. I use Simple Green to keep them clean. And other people use traction compound. The protoforms, you really got to mess with different types of stuff to get them to soften up because they're pretty hard. So, but a 25.5 turn brushless motor is, I don't know, somewhere around 2,000 kV, I believe. So, but these things cruise pretty good because they're so darn light. This is a TC7 associated touring car. And I haven't upgraded to the 7.1 or 7.2 or whatever yet, just because this is plenty enough, you know. So, and I have 2 of them. It's a very good car. Now, once you get into these, you got to be a little meticulous, okay? There's certain things you should do right away. Read the setup manuals, and don't get discouraged with these things because they're difficult to drive. They're very reactive and touchy, very quick turning, because the tires are so small. You know, the servo doesn't have to work much to turn these tires or turn these wheels. So don't get discouraged if you're first time out, you're hitting a few things and stuff like that. The best thing to do is when you get this, you bind everything up, you calibrate your steering and your throttle. Now on my AV or on my Spectrum controller, I could turn the steering down to like 50%. That's the amount of travel you get, okay? So if I want 100%, it goes all the way. If I want 50%, it only does that, all right? This will help you, all right? And you can also turn down how fast the wheels turn too. This will help you as well. It'll help you to ease into it and learn how the car works. Lots of people, they think it looks really cool, and it is, and they jump into it, they spend $700, and they hate it because they have any fun because they can't drive the darn car. It's, you know, do your homework first, but these things are lots of fun because they're not super fast where you're always breaking something. And VTA is a very fun class. So I do run the fan because oval, we're running at top speed a lot. So I want to keep this cool. And this is also a belt-driven car, so this enables everything to be real smooth, and there's no slipper or anything like that. It enables everything to be real smooth, okay? But like I say again, you got to read the manual. I mean, there's tensions for these belts. There's fluid in these rear diffs, which if you're running VTA, you probably want to run 1 to 5,000 in these diffs, in the rear diffs. And there's a spool up front, which is it's like a lock diff up front. So and there's inserts in here that lower the differential as low as it can go, or higher. So the lower your center of gravity, the better. But it seems weird, but if you put a little bit of traction roll in your car with rubber tires, if they don't stick very well, you can gain a little bit more traction that way. But that's a feeling type of thing that you have to get used to and learn as you go. Along with, like, in touring cars, all these placements of everything affect it, okay? So you got to toy with it. It took me a year to learn these things, and I don't even know half about them yet. But I do know purposes of, like, toe out of your hinge pins. There's how far this rocks forward. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. So read your manual, play with it. When you're at a race and you think you need to change something to make it help drive faster or better, do one thing at a time, because if you do multiple things at a time and it doesn't work, you won't be able to backtrack and see what worked and what didn't work, okay? So that's a belt-driven touring car. Now, I'm going to show you a shaft-driven car, which a lot of people are probably more familiar with, but depending on the type of shaft-driven car you get, it can be worth it, it might not be. So, and if you get a car like this, okay, you know, carbon, belt-driven, you know, you want to protect your investment and get a darn chassis protector, guys. You know, look, that's my chassis protector. You know, if you're running on carpet, you really don't have to worry about it. But if you're going to do any sort of asphalt or anything, get a chassis protector. It'll help. Let's put this body back on. And VTA, real VTA rules. There's certain years on the bodies, and you have to have a driver in here. Also, you have to have numbers and a certain amount of stickers. It has to look like the real thing. And depending on where you race, they might limit you to Protoform tires only, and they might limit you to a certain chassis, which I don't see why they would do that, but some places do. All right, so shaft-driven cars. Now, I used to have a Team Associated TC4 and a multiple TC3s, but I just have one TC3 now. And I like the TC3, even though it's older. I think it's a little bit better design than TC4 for a lot of reasons. But one of the reasons is TC4, the belt crank here, will like to split in the middle. There's a screw in the middle that it likes to split. The plastic is a little bit more brittle in the TC4. So, so the TC3 is very, very similar to TC4, and it's a good car. And the TC4 is a good car, especially for the kit price. Okay, so you can buy TC4, $160. You got to buy all the electronics, tires and wheels, body. Okay, still a very good buy, considering if you buy like the Traxxas new Fortec roller, and that's a decent shaft-driven car. You can't really grow with it though, because it doesn't have a lot of adjustments that can help you down the road. So keep that in mind. You know, there's other brands out there besides Team Associated that make good touring cars. They're, you know, like Schumacher. There's 3A Racing, Sakura Cars. There's all kinds. There's off-the-wall names too. There's Team C, you know. But these things do get pricey, guys. So try and start as cheap as you can, because these little things can cost a lot of money in a hurry, and you could end up not liking it. So shaft-driven. Obviously, it's shaft-driven, and it's going to be a lot like how the Slash is set up. So, but there's no slipper. And in the back here, it's got a ball diff, which it works kind of like a slipper. It works on pressure and ball bearings. And in the front, I do have a spool up front too. But the TC3 and 4, they come with ball diffs front and rear. So I just made the change to I don't know, pull a car around turns better. But again, you know, direct solder. This is kind of an all-out class car, 8.5 turn. You know, this thing really moves, and you know, it's lots of fun. So, and it moves so much that I can't even use actual touring car tires, because these aren't touring car tires. Those are VTA tires. Touring car tires, those white dish wheels, and they run in certain compounds of tire that actually, some of them you need to run like 10 laps to get them warm, and then they'll start sticking. So, but the foam tires, they grip really well depending on the shore you get, which is kind of like compound. But be aware, the softer you go, the less life you will have, and you can ruin these things in 10 seconds. okay? Your alignment, your camber, everything has to be on when you run these. And rubber, because if your alignment's off, your car will drag and do stuff you don't want to. So invest in a good camber gauge and ride height gauge. And you know, ask somebody at the track how to do an alignment. Doing that alone will really help. Having a basic setup will really help. It'll enable you to drive your car consistently. So same type of VSC, it's just a little bit bigger. I don't know, this thing's been here a while and it hasn't broken, so I haven't changed it. And it's a good car. I've had it for a long time, and I haven't had to really replace too much on it. Things are gonna break when you race, certain things, but for what it is, man, it really moves, and I still win races with this thing. It's lots of fun. Shaft driven is good, durable, and you get more of a direct shot of power with these. So they might be a little bit harder to control depending on what you're doing or what type of grip you have. But yeah, good cars. Oh, and another thing, when you get a TC4, if you happen to find one, they come with black plastic drive shafts or plastic axle shafts and out drives. That piece right there, that's your out drive. Okay, those axle shafts, they're plastic. For running VTA, you probably ain't gonna break those. It doesn't have enough power. But if you start getting in like 17.5 touring car and anything like that, you could start breaking them. So be aware of that. They do sell upgrades, and they do sell metal bell cranks for the TC4. That's why I like this thing so much. All that rides on bearings right there. I've never had to replace that bell crank, by the way, and it still works great. Okay. So that's, open touring car class, really quick. But, that's really my main ones I'm doing right now. I mean, I'm not doing 17.5 touring car or anything else. All my other stuff's kind of put away for a little bit. There's all kinds of classes out there, guys. Look them up, Go to your local track. There's cheap classes, there's expensive classes. There's Legends and Spec Mod. You could spend $180, I believe, and you're ready to go with that thing. Battery, charger, or I'd say 200. You can get a battery, charger, controller. You can get the Legends kit, the motor, the ESC, steering servo. The kit comes with tires. It's a fun class. And once you get everything, let's say you blow a motor, the motor costs $20. Nobody else is running a different motor. There are little things of the game of, overcharging your batteries and stuff. But hey, they're toy cars. If a guy's got to charge his battery and waste $20 every couple weeks on a battery, whatever, I guess he's got to win in a toy car race that bad. Don't worry about that stuff. So there's Legends, Spec Mod. Those classes are very similar, and they run the same electronics, just kind of different body, a little bit different chassis. And then there's, for oval, there's a Busch Pan Car. Now that's a real tricky class. That's for a very advanced RC driver, You're looking at some good money on that class. And then there's Super Truck, which is one of these chassis with a body like that on it, and like a NASCAR truck body. It's a 13.5, so you're looking at about 3,500 kV max, depending on what type of motor you buy. And touring car tires. Very tricky class to get a handle on. They're really quick. Again, people love how they look, and then they get into it and they get really frustrated and quit. So know what you want. I recommend starting with VTA, or you can do 21.5 touring car. It's just a touch more power than what's on here. And touring car tires, touring car body, kind of like these, more like this one, sedan touring car. These aren't for touring car, those are just fun bodies. Touring car bodies like that, sedan. And they also run a 21.5 USGT. It's a lot like Le Mans cars, like Ferraris, Corvettes, things like that. And they use a tire like this, specific. You can get these to be sticky a little bit. They're a little hard, not too bad though. Your touring car tires are gonna look at this. They actually stuck together a little bit, but these are a little worn out. But these are touring car tires. These are 32 compound. So 36s, if it's real hot out, you can use them. I like to run 32s. Anything below that, you're either racing in cold weather or they're letting you use them, but they'll wear out quick. And so like, let's see here, another VTA body, but so like USGT. Now they'll probably actually have rules of what types of bodies you can use, but here's one of them, that Cadillac CTSV body. So this is one of the classes they run. Same as 21.5 touring car, just different tires, different body. That's all it is. Just sometimes the guys like doing different bodies, and so they change up the class, and one year they'll run it like a certain way, and another year they'll run it another. Another good one to get into, guys, is that Euro truck racing. It's getting real big. I haven't got into it just because I think it looks like a very fun class, but I've just been so caught up with everything, I can't really do another racing class car. I bought the Rustler to have some fun with. That Euro truck, you get everything in the box except the battery and controller, and you put it together and you go. And everybody's truck's the same. There's certain things you can do. The kit doesn't come with bearings, it comes with bushings. You can get the bearing kit. Where we race them, that's the only upgrade you can do. You can run a different brushed ESC if you need to, or a really good servo if you want, but we're limited to the Zippy battery. I think it's like 4,000 milliamps, and the motor that comes with the kit. So you can lube stuff, make it work better. You can't put foam in the tires, things like that. So fun class. There's also another one that has a two-wheel drive slash. There's two of them actually. One is called Mud Boss, and that is a stock brushed Traxxas slash with foam, Jayco wheels, and a custom body. Now the bodies can be a little pricey because they have to be a certain body, and the foams are like $70, but the truck isn't going fast enough to really chew up the foams, so they do last a while. But that is a good fun class. It's very, very spec. I mean, you can't even put stainless screws in your truck. You have to use the original screws that came with the kit. I believe springs, like everything, man. You can't change anything in that truck. The other two-wheel drive slash or two-wheel drive short course truck class is late model. And there's a body up there for two-wheel drive slash late model, that 24 body. And We have certain, every place is different. We limit it to 4,000 kV. We don't do a spec electronics because that helps people get into it. So if they have a brushed or a brushless two-wheel drive slash, all they have to do, literally all they have to do is just buy the body and tune the car if they want. If they want to lower it, put heavier shock fluid in it, whatever you gotta do. You can do different tires. Some guys like the off-road tires still on them. Some guys will run something like on this Rustler. But that's a good fun class. If you know of an oval place that doesn't have it, you can put a comment on my subscription or whatever you call it, and I can explain some of the specifics. There isn't too many for that class because the two-wheel drive slash is a little tough to drive in a racing setting. So guaranteed, if you make the class, there's going to be somebody out there that's going to get the max KV they can get, and they're going to run the max gearing they can run, and they're going to be all over the place. So there's a guy out there with a two-wheel drive slash with how it came out of the box, and he lowered it a little bit, and he put a Reedy 3300 motor in it, and he's one of the fastest guys. So it's not about the power, it's about how you can drive the car. The tires are almost more important than the motors. So, if you have any questions about some of these classes, put a comment in, and I can give you a lot of specifics about it. If you're thinking about opening up your own oval, give me a shout. I can tell you about it. One of the biggest things is lap counters. Get you a lap counter system, and if they can be pricey, and if you can't afford it, race with a buddy, count your laps. It's not that tough to do. So, get in a good class, have some fun, and do one class at a time. Once you've gotten good with that class, maybe go on to something more difficult, and keep your cars, guys. I used to have tons of cool cars, and I've sold a lot of them. And why did it, I don't know. I had a old RC10 pan car it was a RC10 SL or DL. It basically looked like those old American Trans Am cars. What I'm talking about, like the Mustangs and Trans Ams and Camaros. They had like the wide bodies. That was such a cool car. And I seen somebody actually go out there and race with it the other week, or one like it the other week. Keep your cars, guys. You never know what you're gonna do with them. And I've learned my lesson. I'm keeping mine. The RC18. I'm still holding on to it. I've got a busted chassis here. I'm still holding on to it. At least for parts, for screws. Things like that. Hold on to your tires. You never know if you'll get back into something and use it. I got that black body up there. Was to a Nitro TC3, which was such a cool car. And, being Nitro, it, sounds good, smells good. It's so fun to have Nitro. And I sold it because I didn't want to mess with Nitro anymore. And I still wish I had it. I bought that like a year ago, brand new out of the box, and they've stopped selling those years ago. So, keep your cars, guys. You never know what you're going to use them for. And, you might get, for me, I got so much into racing, all I was doing was racing them, putting them on the shelf, and I got away from having fun with them out in the yard. There's kids all in my neighborhood that love to come and hang out with me. It's a good thing. It's a good hobby to get your kids into. Father and son, or mom and son, or father and daughter, or whatever it is. It's a good hobby for kids. It gets them outside. It gets them using their brains, because they got to fit, you can teach them to fix this stuff themselves. Once they get one of these, if they break a bumper, it costs like $10 for a bumper. Make them take out the trash. I'll get you another bumper, you know, and have them put it on. It's only a few screws, guys. You know, they can learn how to do it. It makes them use their brain, it makes them use their hands, and they can understand some things about engine. Engineering is probably the wrong word. It gets them a little mechanically inclined, okay, and they can use their brain to actually problem solve and fix something. And when they fix it and then they see it run and run how they want it to run, it's a good feeling, and they'll continue to do it over and over and over, and they won't rely on somebody else to do it. They'll just do it themselves, and they become self-reliant. And it can become something simple as RC cars. They can learn that. You know, when I was a kid, my dad was in the Marine Corps. Every morning was 5:30 wake up. You know, so, and I was taught to make my bed. You know, all this stuff, and just life is so busy now. I get it. Mom and dad are working. It's not one person working anymore. Mom and dad have to work in most families. So, you know, the kids got to almost raise themselves sometimes, depending on mom and dad's work schedule. So, get them into a hobby. Get them into something that's involved. Doesn't have to be RC cars. It can be baseball. You know, it can be freaking fencing. You know, get them involved in something. It gives them some self-worth, self-pride. You know, it's a good thing. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got some information on some of this stuff if you don't know about it already. And like I said, give me a comment if you want to know more about the classes. I can tell you all about them. And, you know, I just want to get more people in the hobby because I think it's fantastic. All right, guys, go have fun.